Bitches.
And it goes a little something like.
What is up YouTube, Crafting Cars here, happy Tuesday. Now for today's video, we're going to continue working on our rear disc conversion / upgrade on our 97 Civic here. And the mission for today is to remove all the brake line front to back for the rear brake setup. So all that rusty steel hardline is going to be removed and we'll be replacing it with some PVC coated, braided stainless steel replacement brake line here. So pick this stuff up online. This is actually OEM Honda off a Civic Si, and I believe I got this on eBay. I'll go ahead and leave a link in the description where I got this. But yeah, the removal should be kind of tricky since, you know, just like doing the e-brakes, there's gonna be a lot of rusty brackets and bolts under there. But I'm looking forward to installing the brand new line. They should go pretty straightforward and should look a lot better when we're done. All right, so before we go ahead and crawl underneath the car, I decided to make our lives a little bit easier by printing out these diagrams. Now, this is the fuel and brake line diagram, and the only reason I printed out the fuel line diagram is because it includes this plastic track here. Now, this is the plastic track that runs along the middle of the car that holds the fuel and the brake lines. And in order to get this plastic track off, we got to remove the bracket at the front, middle, and rear of the car. Go ahead and look at this diagram here. We have our rear brake lines highlighted. You can see where they connect to the proportioning valve on the firewall in the front of the car, all the way back to where they connect at the inner fender well at the rear of the car. So the reason they're bent up like this is because they go around the gas tank. Now if you look over here, this setup right here is the setup you need if you're doing the rear drum brakes. So that is the rubber hose and steel hardline we'll be removing. And then here is the setup that you use if you're using rear disc brakes. So this is the rubber hose that goes from the fender liner all the way to the disc brake caliper. So before I put you guys on a time lapse, I'm gonna do my best to crawl under the car and show you guys all the lines we'll be removing in person. So, yeah. I've almost got this one removed. I started a little bit early, but this is that bracket that's on the back of the trailing arm. This is the rubber hose and steel hardline that used to go in the back of the drum brake assembly. Now following us back, you can see the brake line going around the gas tank. All the way into this track here. And this track goes all the way. You can see the brackets along the way there. All the way to the front of the car. There's the front bracket there. And then I got my fuel lines going up over there. You can see the fuel lines. And then right here is where I got the rear brake lines. And you can see I've got them going into that black fitting right up there. Now that's unique to my setup because I have a little Chase Bays tuck brake line kit. But your fittings won't go like that. Yours will go straight into a proportioning valve if you have a stock setup. But yeah, so gonna have to remove those lines. Shouldn't be too bad, but like I said, these brackets are pretty rusty, so we'll do our best. Now it kind of goes without saying, but before I start up the camera time lapse and we slide underneath the car, just make sure you got your pockets full of your 10mm, 12mm socket, crescent wrench. Make sure you got some safety glasses on, maybe an impact gun, and probably a pliers, and you know, maybe a Phillips head and flathead screwdriver to help you out while you're underneath the car. Otherwise, you're going to be spending extra time looking for tools and digging rust out of your eyes. So just keep that in mind. All Alright gangsters, well, we got the lines out. It wasn't too bad, and all the bolts came out pretty easily. I think I only had one bolt that snapped on me, but, you know, kind of expected that. And as far as the plastic pieces, I got this whole track out without breaking the track. But these little plastic brackets, I did damage some of these. That's okay, since the new lines are a little bit bigger, they won't really fit in there very well anyway, so that's alright. And then I spilled some brake fluid and got a lot of rust on the floor, so I'm gonna clean this up quick before I go ahead and install the new lines. I won't be putting that plastic track back on today because while I'm down there, you'll see in an episode coming up, I'm gonna be doing the fuel lines as well. But yeah, shouldn't be too hard. They did have some instructions that I gotta use the longer line for the passenger side, so I'll keep that in mind. And yeah, like I said, I'll clean it up and we'll get started. So while I was down there, one quick thing I decided to do before finishing up running the brake lines was delete the fuel vapor, the vent line. So that went from the gas tank all the way up to this charcoal canister. Now I deleted this charcoal canister a long time ago. Those usually sit kind of underneath the battery, back against the firewall. And I haven't been running that for a long time, so I figured it's probably time I pull that vent hose out of there. So that's this line right here. So now underneath my car, currently I only have the fuel feed line and the fuel return line. And we're about to have some fresh brake lines. Alright guys, so we got the lines ran under the car. It's kind of hard to see, but that right there was that F-fitting. That's where they start. And then for now, I just got everything zip tied on. Like I was saying, I'll throw that back on after I get done with the fuel lines. I'll be doing that the next couple weeks here. But it looked really cool. You see the blue lines going all the way back. And then they're a little bit long, so you can tuck the extra kind of by the gas tank. And I just zip tied them to the Ebrake cable there. Go all the way up to there. So you know what time it is? It's now time to run the, I thought they were OEM Honda. I guess I ordered them from Chase Bays, I forgot. We're gonna run the Chase Bays line from there all the way to the banjo bolt on the caliper. So I'll take the shorter black brake line, feed it to the bottom. And I've got this OEM Honda clip right here. Go ahead and put the part numbers for everything in the description, of course. And I believe that should clip on. Yeah, sometimes they're kind of tough. And we'll go ahead and screw in this adapter. And connect our blue brake line. Then we'll go ahead and connect our banjo bolt to the back of the caliper here, making sure to put a washer on both sides. And after you got everything hooked up, make sure you just go through, make sure everything's nice and tight. Alright, so everything's hooked up over here. We'll go do the same thing to the other side. Alright guys, well, I didn't expect this to be a 4-part video series, but we have finally completed our rear disc brake conversion on our 97 Civic here. Now I try to put as much detail as possible into these videos so anybody can reference them if they want to do the swap themselves. And as always, I will put the part numbers in the description below. So I have one more braking component that I want to upgrade next Tuesday, and that will be this right here. This is a Integra Type R master cylinder. It is a 1-inch diameter as compared to the 7/8 inch diameter I have in my Civic EX here. Basically, benefits of this is it moves a little bit more fluid, you get a little bit more stopping power, and it works better with 4-wheel disc brake systems. So yeah, really looking forward to installing this. It's gonna look super clean, and I can't wait to test it out and see how it performs. And then the following Tuesday, I plan on installing new fuel lines, but instead of ordering fuel lines, we're gonna try our hand at crafting some fuel lines and installing them ourselves and see how that goes. So overall, I'm really glad we're doing these modifications now in the winter time, so by springtime, we can hit the streets and don't have to worry about, is my car gonna stop? Or, am I gonna have a fuel line or a brake line break or something like that? So glad we're getting this out of the way now. And then stay tuned after the braking and fuel system, after I get done with these little mods here, kind of like maintenance stuff. Get excited because we're doing some exhaust work. Might have a potential sponsor on the way. I'm kind of talking to someone right now, so really looking forward to that. Actually getting a performance parts sponsor, so really cool. Stay tuned. I'll give you guys all the details about that when I find out more. And until then, I will see you next Tuesday. Bye-bye.